Good evening. Good evening, everybody. And welcome to IT Nation Connect Europe 2026. On behalf of 3,500 ConnectWise colleagues all over the globe who are tuning in right now, we welcome you to this event. And we are back. We are back. This time last year, we stood on this stage and we promised you that we were moving to annual events in Europe, increasing our investment in this region and in you. And here we are, and I cannot wait to get started. Now, this event has been, of course, a year in the making. So when we sit down as a team, just after we finish the last one, we sit down in a meeting room with a whiteboard, slightly sore heads, I will admit. What do we think about? What's the guiding principle that we put at the top there, that we anchor everything around? Some of you may have heard me say this before, but it bears repeating. The most valuable thing that any of you will ever invest is your time. It is the one thing that none of you have enough of. Our job here as a team this week is both to repay that investment and to pay dividends on it, to make you bigger, better, faster, stronger as individuals, as companies, and as a community. And we can't wait to get going. Now, I have a question for each and every one of you. Thought I was just going to talk at you for a while. We're going to make you do some work. I have a question for you. In your mind's eye, because this is London, and if we talk in public like on the tube, everyone thinks we're weird. So think about something in your head for a minute. I want you to think about either a challenge that you need to overcome or an opportunity that you want to unlock within your business. Take the first thing that springs to mind, because that's probably the most important. And as entrepreneurs, you trust your gut. Right, think about that for a second and lock it in. Now have a look at the people sat around you right now, because these are the people that are going to help you to solve or achieve that challenge or opportunity for you. Build your community here this week. I challenge you to do that. These are some of the things that you might have been thinking about. And it's funny because we asked you, we surveyed you and said, how can we best serve you here this week? What do you need help with? How can we best bring value to you? And this is what you told us. Number one, AI, automation, and the next great curve jump for our industry. How do we hyperscale? How do we increase our efficiency and our profitability, but at the same time maintaining that intrinsic brand that our clients love and the reason that they choose to do business with us? How do we preserve that? Number two, profitable managed services growth. I am no oracle by standing here in front of you and saying that growing by referral is not enough. How do we help you to bring consistent, predictable, and repeatable new business processes inside of your company to grow and grow and scale? And then thirdly, the ever-evolving threat and regulatory landscape. And I challenge you to say that 3 times from main stage quickly. And how do we, first of all, help to keep you one step ahead of the cyber criminals? Because let's face it, they are not slowing down. Secondly, how can we teach you how to embrace nation-state regulation that we see all across Europe and use that to win? And then lastly, how can we help you in, let's face it, everybody, the never, ever decreasing world of client expectations? Anyone see those going down anytime soon? I don't see any hands. Right, wonderful. So that's what we use to build out our agenda and more. Now, there are over 600 of you here this week, and I honestly can't tell you how happy it makes me to say that for the second year in a row, IT Nation Connect Europe is totally and utterly sold out over the course of this week, so thank you. You represent 32 countries, the true power of a global community. And for 28% of you, this is your first ever IT Nation event. So first of all, on behalf of us all from ConnectWise, welcome. And second of all, where on earth have you been? Come and see me after class, please, and we will have words. Now, my privilege to be with you here tonight and kick things off for you. But there's a cast of thousands that make what I do here tonight possible. So first of all, I would like to say thank you to all of my colleagues all over the world for giving your all for this community and for allowing me to come up here and kick things off on your behalf. So thank you. Next of all, and they're going to hate this, and I didn't do it in rehearsal, so they don't know I'm going to do it. So I'm going to get in an awful lot of trouble. There's one team within ConnectWise that all over the globe gives everything for the experience that you're going to undertake and partake in across the course of this week and at all of our events. So just to get myself in even more trouble, can I ask everybody in our marketing events team and our local London marketing team to stand up, please? Including the people in the booth. There are some already set up at the back there. Hello, hello, hello. Right, everybody, can you give me a massive round of applause, please, for our events team? Thank you. Thank you. Also, thank you to our sponsors, not just for being part of this event and this community, but also for being part of the ConnectWise ecosystem and for integrating into our platform. Together, we are stronger. And thank you for being here this week. Right, our industry, ladies and gentlemen, as you all know, because you live this every single day, is one of continuous change and innovation. The changes often seem daunting. Sometimes it seemed insurmountable at first. Sometimes it may not have been change that you wanted, but you prevailed and you thrived. As Henry Ford famously said, if I'd have asked them what they wanted, they'd have said a faster horse. And sometimes, even though we don't want to admit it, if they'd have asked us what we wanted, we might have said another version of SBS. And I feel dirty saying that, by the way. Can you imagine? We don't miss that, do we? 2007, the transition to managed services, leaving break fix behind and sitting on the same side of the table as your clients. It was challenging at first. You prevailed and you thrived. 2011, the transition to cloud adoption, ending the 3 to 5 year infrastructure refresh that we had built P&Ls around for decades. Again, it was tough. You prevailed, you thrived. 2015, the year that cybersecurity stopped being the year that you called your DISC and got an antivirus renewal, and then maybe if you were feeling generous, applied the key to the server that was dishing out the licenses. You've all done it. I know I have. Again, the year that all that stopped and cybersecurity properly became table stakes. 2020, work from anywhere, digital transformation, or a code for the client that had spent a grand total of about £4.50 on their IT over the course of the last 5 years, calling you and saying, I need everything, everywhere, all at once. And somehow you made that happen. Somehow you prevailed and you thrived. And now 2026, AI, automation, and the next great industry curve jump. And I think the biggest that we have ever faced. Why? Well, one of the reasons, because you fight on two fronts. On one hand, you've got to enable your clients. They want to go faster, better, stronger, more efficient. They hear about AI, it's everywhere. And they look to you to be the bearer of that news and the creator of your plan. But at the same time as doing that, you've got to be doing it within your own business. You've got to be figuring out how you scale, how you gain efficiencies, and how you can utilize automation and AI to harness the power within your business. This week, we're going to help you fix that and more. But how are we going to do it, ladies and gentlemen? Well, today we had our Monday workshop. So show of hands, who's been in a workshop today, please? Wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for giving your time and being here. I hope you found it valuable. 36 hours of workshop content. Maybe we turned the dial up to 11 a bit too much after last year. I was asked for more. I kind of never know when to stop when people tell me things like that. But it's all about bringing value. It's all about helping to teach you new things that you can go back and action immediately. 40 plus breakout sessions, many of them led by your peers in the community. That's one of the tenets of IT Nation. As it says down there under those screens, wise together, rise together. First of all, I would like to say on behalf of myself, because I've recruited a lot of you, thank you very much to all of our community speakers for giving your time both in our workshops and breakouts over the course of this week. Next up, how are we going to do it? Something that your accountant may refer for tax purposes as strategic networking opportunities. Here we call them a party. And we have even more of them. We have one coming up later on tonight, first time ever, our community after party, hosted by GCIA. You'll hear more on that later. And tomorrow night, everybody, our Champions After Dark program, hosted by the ConnectWise Champions program, where by popular demand, we are heading back to Flight Club. Now, a public service announcement, please, about Flight Club. We are going to be throwing darts, and we are going to be throwing them at a board, everybody. We're not going to be throwing them into the ceiling. We're not going to be throwing them into each other. So aim for the round thing at the end and stick it in. Mark Pennington, I have my eyes on you. Your card is marked, I'm afraid, on that one, so careful. Right, there is a conversation around AI and automation that I don't think is happening often enough. AI is the next great curve jump for our industry. This we know. You're going to hear more about this and how ConnectWise will enable you and partner with you on that journey over the course of the next 2.5 days. But to be a best-in-class, high-growth, high profitability MSP, just as we teach in service leadership, you need more. You need a strategy. You need a plan. You need an amazing team to go and do amazing things with your clients. Because I believe, and I always will, that this is an industry that is founded on people doing business with people. Your clients look you in the eye and they trust you and they choose you as your technology partner to work with them going forwards. And I don't think that's ever going to change. So how can we better enable you to build amazing teams that build trust and build relationships and deliver amazing outcomes for your clients? And that's where our guest keynote speakers this year coming in. Jake Humphrey and Professor Damien Hughes from High Performance will be taking to the IT Nation Connect stage to deliver their keynote, High Performance Lessons, Performance, Purpose, and People in the Age of AI. It's going to be one not to miss. So if you want a good excuse to dust off the cobwebs from a late night at Flight Club, back in here, 8:30 for a 9 a.m. start, and we will see you there. Now, for 28% of you, this is your first ever IT Nation Connect, but for many of you, this is your first ConnectWise event since 2025 when we were here. However, we have been busy and hard at work. Our mission statement here in ConnectWise underlines our commitment to unify innovation, automation, and community. And this bears out in what you're seeing here. All around the world, the investment that we make in you, our partners, to help you to succeed, to thrive, and to grow. 320 Evolve peer group meetings in 2025. That's 640 days of peers in a room challenging and supporting each other to grow. Amazing. Speaking of Evolve, as you all know, I will take any excuse whatsoever, especially when they give me a microphone and a clicker, to talk about our IT Nation Evolve community. And Evolve continues to go from strength to strength. I mean, 5.9 billion of benchmarked revenue in 2025. That's incredible. And by the way, for the cynics in the room, of course, we're a technical audience, a lot of us, and I know I share it. No, there aren't a couple of big outliers at the top that skew the number. If you would like the median revenue, it's 6.6 million. And then, of course, as you can see there as well, 36.1% year-on-year increase in profitability from our European Evolve members. And if you want to know how they drove that, they drove it through service gross margin improvements. And I bet you they're doing it through automation and AI, because that's where it comes from. Just as Manny and Peter committed to last year, we're increasing the investment as ConnectWise that we make into the Evolve community, and what a year 2025 was. With meetings in Edinburgh, Copenhagen, Manchester, and rounding the year out in the Algarve, there are worse places to end the year. It was an amazing year of challenge, support, accountability, and benchmarking. Or as Arlen would say, none of us are as smart as all of us. Now, every year when I speak to our new Evolve members, they say there's a common theme. They say, Dan, I should have done this years ago. Should have done it years ago. And I want to give you 3 good reasons to do that this week. Number 1, here's a special offer for you to get you past the, it looks great, but I'm a bit busy. Because we're all busy and we always will be. Number 2, come and see us at the Evolve and ConnectWise Partner Program booth, and we can tell you all about the community and how we can accelerate your journey. And thirdly, we're hosting an Evolve lunch on Wednesday. It is in the app. If you haven't got the app, please make sure you get it, and please enable notifications so we can give you updates during the event on everything that's going on. Right, everybody. Know your goals. Remember that question that we posed at the beginning? Remember what those goals are. Plan your sessions. Make time to build your community and get ready for the AI and automation curve jump, because the biggest shift in our industry isn't coming, it is already here. ConnectWise is here to partner with you on your AI and automation journey every step of the way. You ready to learn more? I'll take that as a yes. Right, here to tell us what's coming next for the industry, please welcome Chief Executive Officer of ConnectWise, Manny Ravello.
Thank you, Dan. Appreciate it. Let me get on the next slide. So a couple things. I am so glad to be here this year. We promised that we would be here every year. And how many of you missed a flight? Like the flight leaves on time and you've missed a flight. I can't be the only one. None of you have ever missed a flight. There's a couple of hands. A little higher would be fine. I could see it then, right? So I've missed 2 in my lifetime. First time I was 22. I figure back then you could just race through the airport at the last minute, and they actually closed the door as I was getting in the line. And then I missed a flight on Saturday. But I wanted to get here really, really bad. So I'm going to shout out to my assistant, Karen, who was able to get me on a BA flight the night after. And I was able to arrive here at 2 o'clock because I wanted to share a message with you. Because this industry is going through massive change, but it's not just the industry, it truly is everything around us. This concept of Industry 4.0, if you think about it, the digitization world that we live in, Dan spoke a little bit to it. And you think about it, we're using cloud technology now. which means we have infinite compute, storage, network that we didn't have 10 years ago, right? You're seeing the adoption of AI now, and we'll talk a lot more about it today, as changes, and truly the industry is changing. I mean, you have manufacturing lines now that predict when they're going to fail. You have robotics that are helping do heart surgeries in Asia and Japan, have been doing it for 5 years. This concept of 4.0 is here. And all of your customers, whether it be in healthcare, manufacturing, finance, accounting, that you support, are going to go through a massive amount of change. And the thing that's amazing is it's going to only accelerate. There's this concept, you're all talking AI. I'll tell you, in 3 years, we'll be up here talking about super intelligence. We'll be talking about the concept where these systems are so advanced that they're actually doing a lot of decisions for us, that they may actually be more advanced than the humans at doing that. And I'm not saying we don't have humans in the loop, but that technology is coming. And it's going to come because the large language models are getting smarter. Quantum computing is around the corner. It's just not economical, so you can't take advantage of it, but all of that is in our realm. And it means that this is a new era. There is an agentic era right now for every MSP out there. And if you don't capture that era, if you don't take advantage of that era, I will say that in 3 years, you may not be in existence. That's how fast this technology is moving. And I'll tell you, I've never been more convinced that I've been around technology for 30 years, from the early internet days, where I remember my old CEO used to say, when we were trying to connect the world, and he would say, we're going to change the way we work, live, play, and learn. And I'm like, what's he on? How is connecting to the internet going to do that? Think about every technology evolution that's happened since then and how much progress we've made. And AI is quite interesting. When I presented this data just in November, the investment is over 40% higher that's going into AI. Now, I'll tell you, I know we're all pretty smart people and we sit around and we think we can predict the future. These companies also have very smart people, and they see the trends and they see the evolution that's happening. And you don't invest trillions of dollars into a market unless there is a return coming on the other side. And it's quite interesting because this investment that's gone into this market, and the previous slide didn't capture it all, is really about things like the electrical power grid to generate power. You're hearing a lot of conversations around that. You're hearing about, NVIDIA and all of the other companies that are making chips now. NVIDIA has 70% of that market, but there's a lot of companies making chips to power these massive data centers. The infrastructure happened, right, with infrastructure as a service, with PaaS and with SaaS, but those data centers are popping up everywhere around the world to give you that power. And then you have this concept of all these language models that sit on top of that. And the funny part is that investment, the beneficiaries of that investment are the applications. And this is the year where you're starting to see not so much a conversation of just the language models, but you're seeing a conversation about all of the applications that are getting intelligence. So these systems of records, which I'll talk to, are now becoming systems of action and have to become smarter and smarter and smarter. And it's quite interesting because the way that's showing up is you're starting to see this tapering off of maybe the way you use SaaS, but most of your SaaS applications, the growth is going to be embedded AI in it. It's not going to be an overlay, just AI solution. If you have a system of record with all of your data, why don't you make it smart? Remember, SaaS is a tool to enable you to do your workflow so that you capture the data and you put it into a system of data, a record, and a database. AI now is going to take steps away from that. And what's amazing about that, and I'll be the first to tell you, there's predicted worldwide almost 100 million jobs that will be lost. That's not jobs, it's really roles. It's people that are doing something that now they no longer need to do because AI can do that. And that 100 million, about 70% is SMB. That's about the worldwide stat. So you could say about roughly 70 million roles are going to be lost. The amazing thing is with every technology transformation, and we've been through them all, there's more jobs that get created, more roles that get created, and you're going to see this wave of AI create things that we're not even thinking about today. So when you have this fear that what's AI going to do, am I going to lose my job? No, you're going to lose some roles. I mean, I love what David said at one of our company meetings a while ago. He talked about the meter. You know, when you're driving down the road and somebody used to remember in the old days, take a pound from you, right, to continue to drive down the road. You no longer even stop. They just bill you, right? You enter the city of London and they bill you, right? You go down certain streets, you get billed. Jobs are going to change. The roles are going to change. AI is going to make that possible for all of us. And for you in this room, this is the cost to deliver the service. 75 to 85% of your COGS are to deliver the service to your end customers who are getting smarter, who want it faster, and you're doing it with people. Now, as Dan pointed out earlier, here's the trends that when I talk to MSPs that I hear all the time. And the first one is this concept, can I use automation, AI? Can I use that as a way of increasing my profitability, my margin, et cetera? But I also hear, and deliver consistent, predictable service to my end user who's getting smarter, who's demanding more than ever before. So it's not just a tool to get you to be more profitable and increase your margin potential. It's also a tool to deliver things consistently. Onboarding of end users, resetting of passwords, the list goes on, and we'll spend some time talking about it throughout the week. Second thing I hear is, man, I can't have another, if you want me to buy your PSA, you got to remove 2 applications. Or if you want me to buy your SIM or your RMM, you got to remove 2 applications because we have too many screens. The technicians are cluttered with screens. They can't get their work done. Can you help us rationalize our tools? And tell you what, a platform, a system of record that's integrated with AI will free up the capacity so you could spend your time doing the last 2 on this. Thinking about how you get deep vertical experience inside an industry. How you help your end customer, for example, with healthcare. Or how you help them with compliance like a DORA or a NIS2 or a GDPR environment. And then lastly, how do you transform your business from being an IT provider to becoming a strategic advisor, helping them grow their business? That is the challenge that every MSP throughout the world has right now. It's these 5 things. Now, I'll tell you, I think we all know this, it starts with data. You guys have a gold mine of information. You have the information for your end users that you've collected for so many years that could give you richness of data, and we have to be able to ignite and launch that data. So the most important thing is how is your data structured correctly? Am I controlling my data correctly, securing it, all that kind of stuff? And can I use it to gather intelligence inside my install base to drive better services for them than ever before? So it is the oxygen of your business, or the gold of your business, however you want to look at it. And everybody's starting to realize that. Well, guess where that data comes from? It comes from actually a system of record. When we set out 4 years ago, and I'll be the first to say this took a little longer than we at ConnectWise anticipated, and David and the engineering team will talk about it tomorrow. When we set out to build a platform, a system of record, and integrate the applications into it, we didn't think it was going to take 4 years, but we wanted to build it correctly. So we took the time, and we are so happy, and I'll talk about it in a second, because we have all that information. It's not about common UX, common UI. Yeah, you're going to get that. You're going to get single sign-on, all that kind of stuff, but the centralization of data is so valuable. So we've been building this platform over the last 4 years. We have it out. You're starting to see a lot of partners using the platform with a lot of endpoints inside that, realizing significant value inside the business. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about this platform because I think, David, you'll do that tomorrow. But this is what it looks like. At the bottom, that lower purple level, that's actually the platform. All the way at the foundation is a central data lake that scales out with common services on top. Yes, common UX, common UI, single sign-on, common ticketing, all that kind of stuff, with then a level of automation that sits on top of that. And then what you're seeing in the light blue are things that I consider them to be features. I consider them to be tools that the industry has developed over the years because, yes, you needed documentation, and yes, you needed customer sentiment and customer sentiment. All those things that were things that we had in our portfolio, we're integrating them as features inside the platform. We'll talk a little bit more about that. And what we really offer is then those 4 boxes on top. If you think about that, we offer an RMM, and a set of RMM technology, PSA technology, security technology, data backup and disaster recovery. And then on top of that, we have an integrated managed service offering so we can help you grow your business. We could white label it, we could co-manage it with you if you want, and then an open set of APIs so that we can have ingestion of information inside. This is the platform that we're building. We're going to spend a little more time tomorrow morning talking about that. We're very far along. This thing will be done this year, right? Completely done this year. And lots of different things you'll see already in the platform today. So you should be using it. We have almost 8,000 partners using it, over 3 million endpoints, and growing every day. And what you'll see from our engineering team is with every sprint, they dump new features and functionality, which means only more context is going to come in here on the system of record technology. And all of that gets brought into the platform on a continuous basis. So then what's next? Well, how do we convert it to a system of action? Yep, we have all the workflow. We have the SaaS application. How do we wrap this thing with a lot of AI technology, begin to take the burden off of what you're doing that may be tasks that could be delivered more consistently, predictably, at a lower cost to your end users as we go on over time. And there are 4 things that I'll highlight today, which you'll kind of see tomorrow and throughout the week. We do have a full-blown RPA engine inside the product. Lots of partners are using it. You can read the quote up there. This is an example of using it to onboard individuals. We have this concept that we call AI Assist. It used to be like Sidekick. Think about it as a chat bot that you could point to your repositories of information to kind of interact with it and gather information very quickly. It's in the platform. We've put AI capabilities into our SOC. So now we could do threat hunting, triage, all of that, resolution, and we're seeing huge value at that, where we are actually identifying what is truly an issue versus a false positive or anything else. And we're able to now have service levels of less than 15 minutes to be able to find things. You can read that quote up there. This is a pretty powerful quote also. And then recently, if you were watching, we bought a company. We bought a company in early January. And that company basically is an agentic capability inside our platform that works today with our PSA and can ingest that information from a PSA and give you an agent to do lots of different things inside the business. And that's only the beginning. That technology will go to RMM, that technology will go to security, that technology will go to data backup, that technology will go across the platform and the ecosystem over time. It just happened to start out with PSA. We're going to spend some time today. You're going to see a panel here after Peter, and the panel will walk you through the value they're getting at, the actually users that are getting the value of that. And there are lots of users in the States. Now, you may ask, when's it coming here? Q3 or sooner. We're putting up the cloud instance so you can have that capability here as you move forward. Now, the value is quite interesting. When we did this acquisition and we kissed a lot of frogs. A lot of companies that we do AI, we do this, we do that. And what we found out is A, they didn't scale, or 2, the actual efficacy of what they did was not high enough. If you're going to have AI, it better be better than a human, right? It better be doing the job more accurately than a human. Well, we eventually, when we acquired Zophic, it's because that was the case. But when we interviewed all of the partners, we heard lots of different messages from the partner community. There was no uniform way of identifying how they quantified the value. But you could see at the bottom of the slide, some people say, we save 2 to 3 hours per technician a week, or we handle 20% more endpoints per technician. Some folks got rid of their dispatcher and then letting the technology do the dispatching. So here, I'm referring to roles may change inside an organization. You use that capacity to do something of more value potentially for your end customers. That's out there. And the technology, like I said, starts out with PSA, but it goes across the portfolio. And David and team will talk a little bit more about it tomorrow, so you could get a good glimpse of what our AI roadmap looks also. So look, AI is here. It's going to redefine how you run your business. This is a list that I compiled back in November of 10 things that I think are going to be things that you should consider and begin to think about. I've highlighted a couple here, like your service delivery is going to change, right? You're not going to have this concept of reacting to tickets. Instead, you're going to be much more predictive, much more automated. That's here today. You'll hear it today. People are doing that. They're getting the value out of that today. The way you do knowledge and transfer knowledge, things like co-pilots, so that a technician has all the information and all of the history of that at their fingertips are going to change. And you could see the rest of them there here, including potentially number 8, which I didn't highlight, which is a whole conversation. How do I price in the future? Do I price based on outcomes? Because it's easier to deliver service. It's faster to deliver service. I can't charge time and material like I used to back then. So how do I do things? But if I can give my end user a better outcome, can I price on based outcomes? So these are all decisions we're all going to struggle with and have to think through. But I'll tell you, here's the value for you. The value for you is, can you transform yourself to be AI-driven, autonomous MSP? That's the curve jump. How do I transform my business so it's AI first? And they're able to deliver more predictable services so I can increase my profitability, right? I can grow my revenue. I can leverage the power of the data I have in my environment like never before, because I can help my end customer transform their business. I've been managing, I know everything about them. I know everything about every desktop, every ticket, every issue. How do I help transform that? And can I become one of those new, innovative, differentiated MSPs for those that are late in their stage and are thinking of selling? Because not only are they going to have a higher multiple, but they're going to have something that you could build a business around as you move forward. So there's a lot of opportunity here with this technology. And I tell you, I've never seen anything like it. Nothing has moved this quickly. 3 years ago, we all heard the word ChatGPT and we didn't, and now all of a sudden everybody's using it across the board. And this is the year that the application is going to begin to take advantage of that in ways that are completely different that we've done in the future. So this is what I put on the stage in November. This is that curve jump for you, right? Can you transform yourself and move from not only being an IT service provider, but become that strategic partner to your end customer, help them with their AI challenges that they're going to have, because they have to improve their services for the consumers that are buying from them. That's my challenge to everybody in this room. Thank you for listening today. All right. Next thing I want to do is intro to the stage somebody that all of you know, Peter Kajawa. Peter, come on top.
Well, thank you, Manny. IT Nation London, welcome. We are so excited to have you with us. Today was great. The next 2 days are going to be incredible. So thank you for being here. As Dan said, 2 years in a row of a sellout. So we couldn't be more excited to have you all here. And it's a great time to be an MSP. I've referred to this in years past as the golden age of managed services, and it truly is. The last 6 years have been the best 6 years ever for profitability of our industry. The best in class have made more than ever. Bottom quartile's done better than ever. It's been an unbelievable 6 years. And the great news is, with AI and automation, the things that Manny just showed you, we have the chance to not only continue this, but to take this to the next level. For the next several years to look like the last few years have looked after 2019. The best days are ahead of us. But they're only ahead of us if we take advantage of it. The opportunity is here for every MSP in this room to do it. But we have two challenges that we need to solve for, especially in this market. The first one is growth. Now, this is a tale of good news, bad news. The good news is this market is growing faster than any of our other markets in managed services. 15.7% average growth of managed services. To put that in context, the industry average over the past several years has been about 12%. So really, really good story. Okay, that's the good news. The bad news, as you can see on this chart, is that 65% of partners are growing slower than that average. We have about 19% of partners that are growing faster than 20% that are pulling the average up. And unfortunately, 22% of MSPs are growing 0% or less. So we have to fix this. Really, really important. The second challenge is wage inflation. While we are seeing improvement in wage inflation globally, and this slide is out of our just released Service Leadership Remuneration Report, but while we're seeing improvement in wage inflation worldwide, unfortunately, the European market had the highest wage inflation last year and will have the highest wage inflation again this year. As Manny mentioned, the cost of your labor to deliver managed services is about 75 to 85% of your cost of goods sold for managed services. So even with lower wage inflation, there's a massive imperative to improve efficiency, to gain it through automation and AI. And that's with lower wage inflation. With higher wage inflation, the pressure is on every partner here because this creates margin compression on your managed service gross margin and leads to lower profitability. So again, the opportunity is here today to take advantage of automation and AI. We finally have a chance to get ahead of this. Okay, but it's going to depend on how well run and how ready your business is for the opportunity. Okay, and that comes down to operational maturity level, or OML. Okay, OML measures how well run your business is on a scale of 1 to 5. And our service leadership data tells us that there is a direct correlation between your profitability and your OML. On average, best-in-class MSPs, those that are in the top quartile of profitability, are OML 3.8 or higher. And on average, on the other side, bottom quartile MSPs, those that are at the bottom quartile of profitability, are OML 2.8 or lower. So your OML matters. It matters for your profitability, but it also matters with how ready you are to take advantage of AI and automation. So what are some examples of things that high OML MSPs do better? Well, here's a few. This is what we refer to as the high OML service equation. Number one, you have a narrow enough target customer profile. Number two, you have a disciplined approach to your tech stack. That's both internal tech stack and your external tech stack you're managing your clients with. And you apply it across all of your managed clients. And number three, you are selling your most inclusive managed service offering to as close as possible of 100% of your clients. and you're selling it to them from day one. If you're doing those three things, you're running your business at a higher OML. You're delivering better quality results at better profitability. Okay, so you are already getting the benefits of this. The great news is these things also make adoption and speed of results of AI and automation even better. Okay, so these things have already helped you. They will help you now. If you are not already doing this, get ready for AI. You'll be better ready to scale. So to learn more about how to supercharge your growth, how to improve your OML, and how to therefore be ready for the AI opportunity that's already here, here are 3 sessions to not miss. Number 1, right after the innovation keynote tomorrow, Lee Silverstone will be delivering a session on AI and automation. We will be doing a sales panel to help you supercharge your growth in the afternoon. And Lee, David Racapor, and myself will be doing a session on what the impact will be on your staffing model and how to measure results as you are building this out within your business. Okay, tons of content over the next 2 days. Dan talked about our 3 themes for the event, but these are 3 that'll help you in those 2 specific areas. And speaking of Dan, I'm excited now to bring Dan Scott back out here. We have a really exciting panel on how partners are already using ConnectWise to get these benefits. Dan Scott, thank you, everybody.
Okay, right. So we've heard that AI will transform MSPs from IT service providers into data-driven AI panels. And it could well be either the team behind me are setting out some saws for our panel, or the marketing team are officially sending in the heavies to drag me off the stage. I can't tell which one it's going to be, but we know that this is not a feature shift. This is an industry curve jump. Everybody with this one. BCDR, we had to position RTO and RPO. With cybersecurity, we still have to position risk, but with AI, it's different. With AI, people are already coming to us. They want to know more. They're curious. They see it in the news. They want to be at the forefront of what they can achieve with AI and automation, and they look to you. And of course, either you are leading those conversations or somebody else is. And we all know what happens when somebody else is leading your client conversations. The journey is built on incremental gains. Just like compounding interest, you compound experience, you learn and you grow. And what happens is that the whole becomes greater than the sum of the parts. So today, we're joined by 3 AI leaders to share their thoughts and experiences with you. First of all, we have Owen Whitlock, Chief Technology Officer at BDR Group, a hyperscale MSP growing both organically and through acquisition. Through Owen's leadership, BDR have established themselves as a leader in the AI and automation field, both within their business and externally with their clients. We have Rick Mutzel, Rick, Manager of Technology at Omega Systems, a premier MSP and MSSP based out of the Northeast of the United States, serving over 750 clients, and I love this one, still looking after their first ever clients. Rick has built an AI practice inside of Omega that not only is very advanced, but also caters and serves their regulated client base. Of course, massive challenges there when dealing with regulated industry. And last, but certainly not least, the one and only Mr. Lee Silverstone, SVP of Platform AI here at ConnectWise and the founder of Zofix. So ladies and gentlemen, please give a round of applause and welcome our panelists to the stage. Gentlemen. Please. Okay, I'm going to take a perch, but I'm going to pull it round slightly so I can see everybody. Apologies if I've got my back to people. Owen, hello. I would like to start with you, if I may. Yeah, if I may. So you and your team are making great strides in taking AI and automation out to your clients and providing those services to them. How have you and your team learned to uncover AI and automation opportunities in your client base? How has that happened? Tell us the story.
Well, have conversations with your customers. That's the first thing. Understand who your customers are, where you play well, and engage with them, right? So when we realized that we needed to expand into this, because really it was a growing side of the business, that if we didn't, somebody else was going to take it, we started running lunch and learns for vertical specific elements of our business. So we take out our best customers within specific verticals, sit them down, take them to Claridge's, something like that, something that would really attract them, and talk to them about their challenges. Right? What is your biggest challenge right now? Where do you lose the most efficiency? Once you've got those, make sure that you take them back, have a conversation with the AI team, figure out, right, how can we address that? How can we standardize it? And how can we bring that to the market? So we've been trying to productize our AI by standardizing the way which we deliver it, the product stack that we're delivering it with, and then going back to those customers with a defined ROI and a defined cost on this so that we can go out and just take this out to market.
And how has that approach evolved over time? What did it look like when you first started, is a better way of putting it for people here?
When we first started, it was kind of whirly gig. We were just going out there going, do you want AI? Do you want AI? Anyone want AI? Come here. And the conversations did go. The CTO would talk to us and say, yeah, we want AI. And we'd say, great, we want to sell you AI. How do we make this happen? And neither of us really had a clue as to what we were going to achieve by this. And there's so many dead projects that people have embarked on because they didn't understand the fundamentals of the outcome. They just went into it thinking, I want AI. And then you put an AI in there and it turns out it costs more than the human that it's replaced. So outcome-focused conversations is critical to your journey.
Again, picking up on an earlier theme, what I'm hearing there is compounding of experience, getting better, learning, winning, and then revising and going again and growing in operational maturity level, as Peter would just said,
Absolutely.
of how you approach it. Rick, first of all, welcome to IT Nation Connect Europe, and thank you for being with us.
Thanks
welcome. So I'd love you to share an overview, first of all. Talk about how you're using AI inside of Omega today.
So primarily our focus was internal. So how can we use AI to gain efficiencies, increase technicians' effectiveness? And so we partnered with Lee, his team, and ConnectWise for implementing the Zofik platform a little over a year ago.
Brilliant, brilliant. And what roles does Zofik play across the organization, across the different teams?
So there's in the ticket itself, so technicians are getting information that the large language model is leveraging directly for service. So service delivery is one of the key features. Secondly, we have like a chat GPT style interface that we've trained very specific models on. So security operations, compliance and regulation. And we use those models heavily. Oh, the sales model. Sales model's great. So it's trained on all of our agreements, terms, conditions, and salespeople can drop an RFP to it or ask it, what should I sell this customer in this vertical that's looking for these? And it produces really good, meaningful output for the sales team to use.
Amazing, amazing. When you went through implementation, was it big bang? Was it gradual? How did you approach it?
Very slowly. So we started by dipping our toe in the water. So training the model is kind of always the beginning. It's all about context and the data that it has available to it. So we let the platform train for about 30, 45 days before we even started turning any buttons, switches on, and then gradually worked our way into being more comfortable and implementing additional agents.
And I'm curious, as someone that spent a lot of my life refining processes within an MSP, what did it look like evaluating your processes through the lens of being performed by an AI rather than a human?
So 2 points to that. One is everybody has been trained to search Google. And so a prompt for a large language model is very different than you need to put in for your conditioning for searching Google for information. So like, we have this prompt engineering position now, like in our industry, for people to actually do that. So there's an opportunity as an MSP to train and educate customers on proper prompt engineering. But then for us internally, we needed to learn how to be prompt engineers to write effective SOPs to tell Zofik what to and what not to do while interacting with the tickets.
Amazing, amazing. And we're a data-driven audience. We love data. Are there any KPIs or good stats that you can share with us about what you've seen? You're far along on the journey now. So what does it look like for you? What can you share?
So it's an interesting, so KPIs for MSPs when implementing the AI models change. So your traditional KPIs that you're looking at now kind of have to change and adapt because your traditional things like time to resolution, like that's just going to go down, right? Because now all the information that an engineer needs is like literally right in the ticket. So the time it takes just for the admin time for technicians to find previous tickets or the documentation within the system, like that's all there. So time to resolution has dropped. First time resolution has also increased because again, the information is right there at their fingertips. So the knock level engineers that typically, engage with a ticket for 10 minutes maximum, and then they escalate it. They don't know how to fix that ticket. They escalate it. But then the service desk level 1, level 2, they did fix it. So the next time that problem comes around, that information is in the ticket in Zofig when the knock engineer opens it. So they don't have to go find it, but now it's presented them with the solution. So now they can fix it. So that first time resolution, that first call resolution now has dramatically increased.
Wow. Thank you. Lee.
I don't know how I can follow that up. That was awesome.
Yeah, that's a tough gig to
Thanks,
follow.
Rick. That was wicked.
Again, welcome to IT Nation Connect Europe and welcome to the ConnectWise family, first and foremost.
Thank you so much. I'm very, very excited to be here. My first time in London, and this is very exciting for me. So thank you, everyone.
Welcome. What I want to know is, we're in a room of entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
When you had the entrepreneurial light bulb moment for Zofig, what was the pain you saw that you thought, I can solve this?
Yeah, it's a good question. It was very much community driven. It was very much talking to MSPs and learning about their pain points. I'm not from the space. I've been a software entrepreneur my entire career. And was a VC before starting Zofig, and I became enamored with this concept of automating businesses that had incredible data layers underneath them. And I think, man, you probably alluded to that on stage and have talked about that a bunch, which is that ConnectWise is this incredible data layer across the industry. And as we started to talk to partners, some of the first people we talked to were ConnectWise customers that said, we're sitting on this amazing system that has all of this data available to us and in it, but it's difficult to make use of it. It's difficult to use it to build automations. And it's disparate and it's all over the place. And the rules that exist inside our business are trapped inside of this software. How do we unlock that? And for me, that there was this kind of aha moment of, once we looked at the data, we realized you can make use of this to train models, as Rick talked about, to first assist technicians in doing their job. And then we started to realize, well, actually, you can train models to build automations for MSPs from the ground up so that you don't now have to have a human going and doing that. And that was this next aha moment. And then we started to realize, well, you can use AI models to take over entire functions and roles and have, move people from doing repetitive, tedious work into revenue generating activities inside the MSPs. And for us, that was just so compelling. And I owe everything that we have built at this company to the community, because every single thing we have done has been driven by partners showing us where the problems are and helping us go figure out how to solve them. So it's been fantastic.
Amazing. Amazing. So when you've been on that journey with partners, what are the common themes that you've seen when MSPs approach AI? What are the common mistakes or the missteps that get made on the way that you pick up on?
Yeah, I think, I don't know if this is unique to AI, but for sure we see a ton of partners that have disparate tool sets. So people who have data sprawl, who are maybe kind of using these more archaic, cobbled together systems. We oftentimes talk to people about having that to be in a unified place. We just think that the more of a unified data layer, and I think, Owen, you were referring to this too when we were sitting in the back talking before this talk. You talked about building product for your end customers, and you build these transformation pipelines that put these into these data lakes and data stores. And I think that's really important for people to understand, is the more unified and callable this data is, the better of outcomes you're going to get. So I think that's one thing I would always coach people on. Two, and I'll say this time and time again, is like, start now. The biggest mistake I see is people waiting. you have to build a new muscle memory. And I think, Rick, you've done this in spades in your business, which is building a new muscle memory on what it means to run an MSP, what it means to automate, what it means to be an agentic first MSP, which is the bucket I would put you in, which is, I think, amazing. And the sooner you start, the more you do it, the more you learn, the more you understand what's possible, what you want to focus on, what you want to not focus on. And then lastly, I would say, expect pretty big outcomes. Expect some pretty significant things to happen in your business if you really lean in and want those things to happen. And part of this is change management, right? With any new technology, with any new software, with anything else you're rolling out, you have to build a culture around introduction of those tools. And that's a change for people.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's all about the people. Owen, I'd love you to share an example. Like we've touched upon the great work you're doing with your clients and how you've uncovered that opportunity. Could you share with us an example of an AI and automation project that you and your team have delivered for a client?
So probably the most impactful one is one of our oldest ones. It was a post-COVID issue that we were looking after an NHS trust. And they'd built up a lot of referrals over the time out of the GPs, and the team wasn't large enough to handle the number of referrals they were getting. They were community trusts, they were getting mental health referrals, they were getting GP referrals, and the backlog had got to 6 months. Through a combination of standardization of the way which that data was being ingested and some AI and robotic process automation, we got that down to under 24 hours. So the appointments were getting booked within 24 hours. I'm not saying the doctors were seeing within 24 hours. That would be lovely to automate. But that alone gave people certainty of when they were actually going to get to see someone. And a bit like from an MSP perspective, when you tell customers, I'm going to see you within this period, and this is when I'm actually going to get to see you, the customer calms down because they know when it's going to happen and how it's going to happen. So that unknown for those people who had 6 months waiting to find out when they're actually going to get to see someone, for me, is still probably the most impactful project. Commercially, it wasn't the best, but that for me is the most impactful project we've ever done.
Wow, that's a pretty good outcome, isn't it? That's pretty tangible when it comes to it. What do you find the temperature of the market is? So when your sales teams are going out there and talking to clients about AI automation ops, what's the feedback that you're getting? What's the appetite?
It depends what companies you're talking to, and that's why I kind of touched on vertical knowledge. If you know your customers and you know their pain points, it's an open door, right? If you go out and tell somebody you used to spend X, you can now only spend Y, they're going to go with you. But you have to understand what you're selling and how to pitch that side of things. The market is hot. It's absolutely boiling because we can really help these businesses be more efficient, make more money, spend less, and have more time to focus on the things that people enjoy. And whenever you're talking to customers, touch on those points. Touch on the fact that you're not trying to replace people's jobs. What you're trying to do is give them more time to focus on the things that actually matter. Because how many of our layer ones right now are focused on that customer phone call in comparison to closing tickets? The majority of them are just trying to close the ticket after ticket after ticket. And they don't, to a certain degree, have the best customer experience because they're trying to get off that phone straight away. Wouldn't it be nice if the customer experience was that they could talk about their cat and their dog and how they went out on the weekend with Lisa? And your customer experience should go up after AI, not down. And your staffing levels shouldn't necessarily decrease, but the customer spend with you should increase because you're giving a better service to your customers depending on where you're doing that AI.
I want to double click on something that you said, which I think is actually so interesting, which is this concept of people assume AI is going to make customer service worse, and it actually makes customer service better. I wholeheartedly agree with that the thing that AI unlocks for us is to give us the time back to do the things that are more human. And I think that you said it so perfectly, which is that it unlocks our ability to have those conversations with people, whether it be about their personal lives or whether it be about how to be more consultative and really understand their end business. I really, really agree with that point so much. I just wanted to highlight that. I think it's a great one.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Rick? you also wear a cybersecurity ownership and leadership hat with Omega, and you work with regulated clients, so there is never a dull day. When somebody came to you, or when you had this idea yourself of, hey, let's look at AI, what the cybersecurity half of your brain, I'm sure, was going, oh, hang on a hot minute. Talk us through what your thoughts and immediate questions and concerns were from wearing a security perspective.
Yeah, obviously, like as MSPs, we hold the keys of the kingdom to all of our clients. At the end of the day, we have all their metadata, we have access to all their systems. And so being the keeper of that information is something we're entrusted with and should be taken very seriously. So when you're looking at bringing any new vendor in, not just specifically AI, you need to do your due diligence. Lee very much dislikes me when I was doing my security due diligence with him. It's been a lot of back and forth, but you know, we need to do that, right? And so we're doing that as well on behalf of us, but also on behalf of our clients. And so we feel comfortable that we can use the information. It's being processed appropriately, stored appropriately, transmitted appropriately.
What would you say to others who are perhaps having that concern in their head now? As this journey goes on, how do I rationalize the security concerns?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, always keep in mind when giving access to anything, you know, where your data is going, where it's coming, and how it's getting there. And so if you're using third-party tools like open source, like probably not appropriate, right? Like, so one of the key points of us implementing Zofik was our people, our technical people, we hired them for a reason. They're going to find a way. We said it was like Jurassic Park, right? Like life will find a way. So you have an administrative control that says you shouldn't use open source large language models. Perfect. Are people actually listening to that administrative control? Probably not, right? Like, are your technicians, whether you like it or not, are using all of these tools? And so give them something they can use that is secure. So for us, it is Zofik. So Zofik is the large language model we use for not just ticketing, but it is our ChatGPT, right? And so we're not worried about leaking client data, our sensitive information, right? It's all, we know it's secure. So we block everything else, right? And so we have a technical control to enforce our administrative control in this instance.
Yeah, because I think in a vacuum, people, as you rightly say, people will find a way.
100%. Like, go look at your logs. Like, if you have DNS records, I guarantee you, every one of the large language models you'll find in your firewall log somewhere.
Is getting a hit, absolutely. Lisa, when you talk about data and app structure challenges earlier on, just elaborate on that a little bit more for us. So when you've seen people going through AI implementations and they're trying to rationalize their data, as we've heard earlier, data is the oxygen of what we're going to put into AI.
100%.
What do those challenges look like in the real world?
I'll give you like a very specific one that we see very often for partners. So look, maybe there's two I'll talk about. One is very high level, which is this idea of basically correlation, right? So the idea of correlating RMM data with customer data inside the PSA. The more that those can be unified, the more that those can be one thing, you're just going to have a better experience out of the box, and you're building this layer for AI agents to go train on, right? One of the themes that I'll talk about a lot over the course of this week, and hopefully everyone walks away with, is that the big unlock of AI is not what we've seen with ChatGPT. The big unlock of AI is software that can learn from your data. And the more that you can have that in one centralized place, the better you're going to be, right? So that's the first thing. The second thing is maybe we'll talk about a very specific example, which is it doesn't matter how centralized it is. If you have terrible data, things are going to go wrong. And I'll give you a perfect example from a customer this week, which is that they have one business name, but written, I think, about 126 times, I think, in different ways inside their PSA. And they're like, I don't understand why the triage agent is selecting different names. And we were like, I don't know, let's go take a look with you. And we uncovered that they have the same name written 126 different characters are different, spacing is different, the customer name 1234, the customer name 123. It's like, you have to clean that up. If you hired an employee to go pick from a list of 123 names, they would get confused too. And so it's just this very pragmatic example of just a little bit of data hygiene goes a really, really far way in driving really what is pretty massive outcomes. And so if you think back, I talked about kind of this building the muscle memory or building the desire organizationally to want to go do these things. Those are small things that are quick wins, but just drive massive downstream results.
Is anyone else sat here thinking that that client renaming problem or the business renaming problem was a fix to a really horrible problem once upon a time that made total sense on the day?
Yeah.
Well, if we just put ourselves in 24 times, it'll be fine.
I hope no one here feels attacked if you have the same customer name in your PSA 100 times. It's things we can all fix together.
Like on that same note, like your tickets, like, are you documenting your tickets properly? No matter what system you use, you want to train on your ticket data, right? At the end of the day, like, are your technicians properly documenting tickets? Or is the resolution note fixed problem, closed ticket? That's not going to help anybody, whether you're using large language models or not, right? Like, I don't know how you fixed this. They just fixed it. It's great. It's magic. It's magic, right?
Yeah, magic.
So you can start today before even implementing anything. Just like fix your processes, make your data good now, so that in the future, when you are implementing, you have accurate information for the models to work off of.
100%, 100%. To you all, Owen, we'll start with you. If someone today was at the beginning of their AI and automation curve jump and they weren't sure where to start, what would you say?
I'll go back to what I originally said. Understand what you're aiming to achieve with your customers. Understand your customers. If you don't have a vertical specific and you guys are generalist MSPs, that's fine. But the only way you can drive a meaningful AI conversation is to understand the business to the point that you can have the outcome conversation. Here are your challenges. Here's the way we can address them. And this is how much it's going to cost you per query, per bot, however you're going to charge it out. Understand the mechanism that you're going to charge, understand the customer's pain points, and understand how you're going to make money out of this, because ultimately, that's what we're here to do.
Thank you. Rick, how about yourself?
I like what you said about like delivering outcomes. Like, you're trying to deliver an outcome, whether it's to a client or to your board or to your operations manager, right? So realistically setting the expectation. And then for us, like, we wasted a lot of time in the beginning we tried to do it ourselves. You'll hear Lee talk a lot about like 80% is not good. Like 80% accuracy is horrible. And so we spent like 6 to 8 months getting to 80% accuracy. And then that last 20% is like another year or two and a lot of money to throw at the problem. And so my personal experience, like, I wouldn't bother trying to develop it myself again when there's already a tool in the marketplace that can do it for you.
Thank you. Lee, how about you?
I would say with benchmarking against human, that's where I would start. Like Manny always makes this point, which is like we always think about accuracy, right, in AI models and how efficacious they are, but no one ever thinks about how accurate or how efficacious is the team today, right? And so I always encourage people to think about like, how good is my team at doing this today? And we were talking about this a little bit before, which is oftentimes AI is better at defining the path than even a human is, because it has time to work in the business and on the business versus, putting up fires. And so I would oftentimes just say to people, benchmark where you are today, look at what the system is really like, and experience what it's like to have AI becoming the system of action inside your environment. And I think the more you tie it to what was things like the day before, you'll really start to feel how impactful the outcomes are.
I think the consistency of AI is something that we probably don't think about. Because Brad Scow, Brad's in the audience, Brad says there's 2 types of text. There's the text that when you give them a problem, you know it's gone, and there's the text that prolong them.
Yes. Yeah.
It's just going to last a lot longer. Of course, with AI, that consistency, I think, is something that we all, we take for granted. Right, ladies and gentlemen, we could do this for a lot longer, but then I really would royally get the hook. Could we have a massive round of applause, please, for our panelists? Gentlemen, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm sure you all have questions for our panelists, but you can find them all at the ConnectWise booth following this one. Now, Proud to say that, of course, we committed to being here every year and we maintain that commitment. So we are going to be back and you can register. Be like the 100+ people who bought their pass for this event at the cheapest that we'll ever sell it for, which is on-site only. Only people who are here are going to get that opportunity. So take advantage of it and it's going to end, as you can see there, on the 18th. Right, if that still feels like a little bit too much, we have an opportunity for you. I could regret this one, but we will wait and see. The, quote, best social media post of the event with hashtag ITN26 and hashtag ConnectWise will win an all-access pass to IT Nation Connect Europe 2027. And it feels quite strange saying that after practicing 26 over and over and over again. We will announce the winners before the guest keynote on Wednesday. And some of you might be thinking, what does best mean, you idiots? Well, best is purely in the eye of the beholders with me and my team. So get creative. And I might well regret saying that one, but we will see on Wednesday morning what is going to happen there. So as you go about our party and after party tonight, do not forget that this time tomorrow, at 9 a.m. tomorrow, not this time, we are back in here. Do not be late for the innovation keynote, where you can hear from our ConnectWise leaders about what comes next. Our ConnectWise leadership team and a kickoff from our EMEA SVP of go-to-market, Johannes Kamleitner, the one not to miss. Do not be late. Right. Speaking of parties tonight, later we have our first ever community after party hosted by GTIA in now what is known as an endangered species in the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, a brewdog, just over the road from the hotel, kicking off at 8:45. But before then, we are downstairs in the Solutions Pavilion, where you can go downstairs, meet our panelists, and go down and meet each other. And after saying that, I now stand between you all and a drink, which is a dangerous place to be. So on that note, 9 a.m., back here for our ConnectWise Innovation Keynote. Do not be late. Build your community. Get ready for the AI curve jump. ConnectWise is here for you. Thank you very much.